Devils Friday. This is the Woo Report, episode 89, titled Devils Must Keep Youth Pipeline Flowing. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is the Woo Report. I'm your host, Sam Woo. Streaming live on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. Also heard on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts, Audible, Amazon Music Prime, Spotify, iHeart app. You got it. Jeff Romano says hello in the Facebook Live. All right, so the Devils must keep youth pipeline flowing. Now, sounds like I'm Captain Obvious, but what do I mean by this? Let me tell you something right now. I think this ownership group, Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment, finally got it right. And I'm going to write about it on pucksandpitchforks.com a little later. I also wrote just a blog, just put it up just now on hockeybuzz.com. If you want to go there, check out my blog as well. What do I mean about the Devils must keep the youth pipeline flowing? So we always talk about weaponizing the cap. The Devils have a lot of cap space. The Devils have a tremendous amount of cap space. But it really means nothing unless you have a youth pipeline, prospects, young talent, great drafting of players that you will develop. Because players come and go. Contracts are big. Sometimes contracts are small. Some have no movement clauses, whatever. But what we're seeing right now, after suffering for nearly a decade, you're seeing what Tom Fitzgerald is doing, started by Ray Shero, his predecessor, where they literally rebuilt the New Jersey Devils brand, the New Jersey Devils team. Some fans don't like it. Some fans hate it. Some fans love it. But I will tell you this. I think the Devils are turning the corner right now, and they learned their lessons from 2 years ago. Not to rush it. And the youth pipeline now is starting to pay off the fruits of the labor, where you have Sharon Govich made a nice trade to get Kokkonen, Mikey McLeod, Pavel Zacha, all homegrown Devils. And they have the cap space. And have you noticed this offseason, Tom Fitzgerald, Fitzmagic, he's a smart guy, but he has not been getting ripped off. Ryan Graves traded a mid-level prospect, Maltsev. Now, I do think Maltsev has potential, but to get Ryan Graves and 2 years here in New Jersey, Dougie Hamilton had to go out free agency, having the cap room to do it, knowing that you have the youth pipeline to fill the holes for now and in the future. And why I bring this up is the whole Tarasenko thing. Mathematically, it's still possible that the Devils have room and cap space to even still get Tarasenko after signing Tatar to a 2-year deal. It's imperative that the cap space that you're weaponizing only magnifies when you have a youth pipeline to back it up. And right now, the Devils right now are in the driver's seat, in my opinion, with the negotiations. Tarasenko. You got to think Marty Brodeur is helping out here, assisting Tom Fitzgerald. Think about it. When you're negotiating, the ace up your sleeve is when you can just get up and walk away. And the Devils have that right now. The Devils have that right now. St. Louis, okay. They signed Saad, okay. They're ready to deal. They don't want to get ripped off, but neither should the Devils. And Bryce Salvador alluded to this, and I caught on last night's podcast on State of the Fan Address, episode 122. Listen, watch it, any of our social media pages or podcast pages if you want, if that's your thing. That fourth rounder, I wouldn't even give that much. The Devils are not desperate right now. They're in the driver's seat. And with the cap space and also great cap money management, PK Subban's contract is going to be off the books next season. Eventually, you're going to have to pay Jack Hughes. And also, by the way, you've got Luke Hughes waiting in the wings. Let him develop his raw talent in Michigan with that group. That's a pretty good group that they got there in University of Michigan. But this is all made possible that the last 5 years of drafting, the Devils can now send a message to the league and the rest of the teams. Hey, they're open for business. We're buying what you got, but you know what? We can simply walk away because our pipeline, our youth pipeline, our youth movement is starting to really look good. Planting the seeds 5-7 years ago. Now, I'll be the first one to admit on the podcast, I'm very impatient. I'm a win now, and I had some concerns about the winning mindset, knowing that this organization, the New Jersey Devils, first-class organization, 3 Stanley Cup winners, were they going to lose that brand from the previous regimes? Were we going to lose that big, bad, beefed up New Jersey Devils, that defense? When you think about New Jersey Devils, and I remember PK Subban, when he first came to New Jersey, he talked about the defense. Well, I'll tell you what, Tom Fitzgerald, he rebuilt that defense for the next upcoming season. And that defense is going to be looking pretty good. Now, look, new players, it's going to take some time. Let's set the expectations realistic here. It'll take about 20 games, hopefully not that long in, to really gel. You can't manipulate team chemistry. It's either you got it or you don't. It's up to the coaches to identify it. Mark Recchi, Lindy Ruff, Nazardine, it's up to them to recognize what works and what doesn't. It's important. Remember all the complaints of John Hines changing up the lines every 5 seconds? You can't build team chemistry that way if you're doing it all the time. I'm all about line changes. If something's not working, change it. But when it's working, don't change it. And just seeing some of the people in the future, like Alexander Holtz, that guy, along with Dawson Mercer, along with Luke Hughes, David Decker. I'm all about Sam Wu. I'm all about you, David Decker. If you ever need a Toyota, go to that. I think it's Town Toyota in Ledgewood. Is it Ledgewood? Is it Town Toyota? Get it from David Decker. I recommend the Shorts guy. He's a satisfied customer, and I'm not getting paid for this endorsement, by the way. Omar Ba in the Facebook Live says, Heinz is a blender specialist. Yes. And Lindy Ruff gets a pass for last year. I thought he did a great job given the circumstances. My only beef was there was no beef helping the coaches out. But the other thing, you know, they had to deal with unusual set of circumstances. Like, wow, 1 or 2 day advantage over the teams that made the playoffs before to have practice. Players haven't played in 9.5 months. COVID protocols, adding all the shenanigans. COVID hitting the team early on. They stuck together, and we saw glimpses of what Lindy Ruff can do to mold this team. Now you got some veteran leadership in Dougie Hamilton, Ryan Graves, Christian Jaros, some big boys on D. We wanted beef. Tom Fitzgerald got his beef. And not only did he get size, you can't teach size, but some of the skill level and talent you can't even teach on defense. I'm really looking forward to it, but I'm not going to rush to judgment. I'm going to say quarter of the season in, I will grade that defense, that blue line. They're going to have the help of having a lot of the home games in October to start off the season. So that's going to help. I also think there could be a surprise rookie or two that may make the team. Wouldn't that be something? All right, so Sharon Govich re-signs 2-year deal. Waiting on Kokkonen. Tatar is officially New Jersey Devils. Mark Dennehy is amateur scouting, director of whatever he got promoted. Kevin Dineen is in for Utica Comets. Just to wrap that up. Also, I got Paul C. of the YouTube Live. I cannot stand Hines. The team was too passive. He would do nothing about it. I wouldn't say he wouldn't do anything about it because what he tried to do was change up the line so many times. I just didn't agree with the strategy. That's all. John Hines is a good guy. Although I still don't understand what the love affair it is with a lot of people, John Hines. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't know John Hines. I hear good things, but the problem I have is, I'll be honest, I only look in the win column to see if that actually verifies. Denny says, Dineen will be head coach next season. Hey, you know what? Very interesting you say that because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same exact thing. Look, Kevin Dineen is a hockey guy. He's got NHL playing experience. He's got NHL coaching experience. That's a pretty good hire. And let's see if he can develop these kids into NHL productive players. Or should I say productive NHL players? John Tanaka asks, in your opinion, how many teams in the NHL would Tatar be a top 6? Well, at least half of them. At least half of them. And I think right now, I mean, in a lot of ways, do the Devils really needed Tatar? You can make that argument. Yes, Palmieri is gone. Zajac is gone. Matt Junior, I don't know what you mean by that comment. But I will say, though, I like to have Thomas Tatar on the New Jersey Devils. Fish sticks for all. Fish sticks for all. All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for downloading our podcast. Subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Let's Go Devils Pod. Our YouTube channel, Let's Go Devils. Also, subscribe, rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or whatnot. But it was a good week for New Jersey Devils fans. A very good week. Can't complain. So look out for my blog on pucksandpitchforksblog.com. Maybe later this weekend. Also, go to hockeybuzz.com for the latest rumors. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Have a great weekend, everybody. Glad to see everybody here. We're going to try to do this every day at midday. We're going to try. But I got life too, you know. It just happens that I love the New Jersey Devils. And as what we say on the Let's Go Devils podcast, we promote what's right about being a Devils fan. And right now, everything is right. This is the Woo Report. Till next time, let's go Devils. See you later.